Perfect. So, welcome everyone to our Coffee with DC Alumni Panel Edition. Super excited that we're talking about Costa Rica. I want to introduce myself quickly. I'm Lynn. I am today's host for the webinar, and I'm also a travel specialist with DC. I've been doing it for about 3 years now, and have had the privilege of traveling with DC. My first day on the job was in Cuba. I've done Peru, been to Alaska, where Layla and I met up, and more recently Bali. Also did our Baja trip. But I've also done a lot of travel experiences since I was younger, with my first volunteer trip being to India when I was 13, which really inspired me to do the work that I do now. And so I do call Costa Rica home. I've called it home since 2018. I'm originally from Canada, if you hear my accent come out here and there. But I am super, super happy to be able to work with DC and be able to work remotely. Our team is amazing and diverse, and yeah, super excited to introduce my colleague Layla here as well.
Hello, I'm Layla. I'm a coordinator for Discover Core. So I help out with the Costa Rica trips, but as well some of the other ones like Baja, Bali, Tanzania, Vietnam, so just to name a few. I am originally from Los Angeles, but I'm currently based in Oregon. And I used to live in Costa Rica, but I was able to go on one of our DC Costa Rica trips, the environmental one, just in March. And it was so lovely. It was so nice to be able to go back to Costa Rica as well. Um, so, yes, that is me.
Mhm. Thanks. And then I'll hand it over to Marcy, one of our alumni, to introduce herself.
Well, and I'm Marcy, and I am a wannabe traveler extraordinaire. This is like my first big out of the country trip with Costa Rica, and it was so fun. Like how I found Discover Core was just like Googling how to travel out of the country, not knowing what I'm doing, and it was like, oh, you can go with Discover Core. So I am from Utah. I went with my daughter, who also loves adventure and was all game for just taking a leap with me and seeing what happened. So that's me.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Marcy. And how old was your daughter at the time of travel, just for the audience to know as well?
She's 14.
14. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I want to give everyone who's new to DC, I see some familiar names on the call, but also some new ones. So if you're not familiar with Discover Core, we've been operating for over a decade, offering what we like to call vacations with purpose to over 20 different countries around the world right now. So all of our trips are really, really different, diverse. We have essentially three categories of trips. We have our grassroots expeditions that are a little bit more on the volunteer side, maybe a little bit more of like humble lodging styles. And then we have our signature journeys, which technically all of our trips in Costa Rica are a signature journey. So this is actually our Costa Rica portfolio right now. So we have three different trips. And there's different characteristics. So I would say signature journeys generally, not always, but are characterized with a little bit less volunteer time, but still very much full of purpose, and still hands-on opportunities to give back, which I'm sure we'll talk about Marcy's experience here shortly. And I have the family volunteer adventure bolded because that's the one that Marcy went on with her daughter. But yeah, and then we also have a third variety of trips, which kind of came about 3 years ago, which is our festival trips, which are essentially trips that just happen once a year at a heightened cultural moment, like Day of the Dead or the Lantern Festival in Thailand. And so it's a once a year opportunity to see a country at a really unique time of the year, of course. So that's a little bit about us, but I'm really excited to hear from Marcy, and I want to jump right into it. So you kind of mentioned Googling, kind of figuring out where you wanted to go, but I'm curious, why did you decide to take like this trip in particular with us out of all the options we have?
Um, I mean, I didn't grab it right away. I think it was Angela that I talked to so much,
Hmm.
one of your Discover
Yeah.
Core. Um, because I really didn't know. I knew that we wanted like high adventure. We wanted to be really involved with animals. And I also wanted to make sure because it was just me and my daughter. I wasn't taking my other boys or my two boys. And so I wanted it to be a family trip. So hopefully there would be someone like around her age on the trip as well. So I read through many of the itineraries and I was just so drawn to Costa Rica. My dad used to go to Guatemala. And so I've always been interested in going in that
To
area.
Central America.
So she loved the idea of being by the water, and I love the idea of being in Central America. So that's why we
Did
picked
you
that
do it together, the selection? Like, did you show her some of the itineraries, or did you kind of like filter and then hand it? I'm curious if you
I mean, I
if you
definitely
select.
filtered a little bit, but yeah, I just showed her like what the options were and just reading through the family Costa Rica one, like there was so much, like it was so
Yeah.
diverse of experiences
Mhm.
of just like the adventure and then of like being immersed with the people there and then the service. I mean, there was so much to it that it just lit me up reading through it. So
Totally. No, the family volunteer adventure trip is like I often tell travelers it's like one of the best introductions to what we do. And it is a really well balanced itinerary, so makes sense why that one definitely stuck out for you. And I'm curious, did you feel like there was an impact for you and your family, going on this experience? Do you still talk about it? I would love to
oh,
hear.
definitely. And
Mhm.
this picture says it perfectly. Like my daughter's never been out of the country and she's never like she's never been with people like this that have such humble homes and like the kids in the school. I mean, it was so foreign to her and it was so cool to watch her navigate it. It was like a little bit of a shock to her, but also just the more she warmed up to it and got comfortable, it was just, I mean, it just changed her view of like how big this world is, and how different
Mm.
people are everywhere you go. And yeah, we talk about it often. We look through our pictures and we loved our tour guides. And so we like will often like say things that they did and laugh. And I mean, yeah, it's a very easy trip to just keep front of mind and kind of always go back to.
Sure. Yeah, no, definitely. When it's somebody's first experience abroad, I mean, you can read about a place, you can, think but until you actually like throw yourself into that experience and meet people who maybe don't speak the same language as you, but you just gain that connection, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
an it can be transformative if you're open to it, if your heart's open to it, it can really yeah, transform your perspective on the world. And like you said, you realize it's just such a big place with so many people that live different ways than us, but we're able to still meet and connect and smile and hug each other and embrace one another.
Well,
I
and like
loved going. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
in this abuela's home in this picture, it was like they had Tyla making tortillas, they had her like crushing sugar cane.
Mhm.
I mean, she just got to be so immersed into it. It wasn't like a backseat thing. It was like they wanted her to come in and do it. The little kids had her dance with them. Oh, it was
Yeah.
so cool. I
It was
loved.
a full embrace. Yeah, a
Yes.
full open arm. Yeah. Yeah, which is so special. And I do love this itinerary. Almost all of our itineraries do include these moments of like meeting local families and just like getting to live alongside them, even if it's just for a day, but getting a window into their world and getting to experience all of those elements, like from the plants to the food, and it's just so rich. Very enriching experience for sure. Hmm. And so, do you have any main takeaways that you want to share with us about the trip? I know, again, it's 8 days, but it's pretty packed with like a lot of elements. We go to three different destinations on the trip. So curious, when you look back to it, what are a couple that you're like, oh, that was awesome for us getting to do that?
Um, for me, what really stood out was when we went to the kids' school and they like danced and performed for us. I mean, we felt like celebrities. They would like run up to us and they'd hold our hands and they'd give us hugs and so that was so fun. The lodging was amazing. Like I'm not a princess necessarily when it comes to lodging, but I also don't like to camp and stuff like that. So the lodging was amazing. It wasn't like a typical hotel. The places we stayed were so beautiful and so clean, and the food at the places was so good. So I loved that. Um, our guides were amazing. Miguel was so
Mhm.
wide, like had so much knowledge about Costa Rica and was just so passionate about it. So you could talk to him forever about anything. And they were so good. Like Tyla wanted to go to the beach. She just really wanted a beach day where she could just jump into the water. And so he was so good they just, one afternoon when there was nothing to do, they took us into town and I was able to like do some shopping, and then we found some boogie boards and like went out into the water. So they really were there to make sure that we were safe, but also that we just experienced as much as we wanted to. He was always good at finding like sloths, like birds, like he was always on the lookout to find something for us. And our driver, Cesar, he couldn't speak very good English, but he was so sweet. I mean, I hated that I couldn't talk to him because he was so kind. We actually took
Mm.
him. So this boat ride that you see here, this was something that we booked by ourselves on a slow afternoon. And that's Cesar right there in the front. And so we even invited him to go on the boat ride with us. So that
Oh.
was an incredible moment. I told you before, I think you should add that to the itinerary because it took us out on the water and we got to snorkel, and then the dolphins were chasing our boat, and then there was the sunset. Like
Magic.
that was the most perfect ending of the trip right there.
Absolutely. I love that you included Cesar. That's so sweet. Oh my gosh, he must have absolutely loved that. I swear, that's our travelers. Like, our travelers are amazing too. And we co-create the beauty together. That's for sure of an experience, you know? So
Well,
thanks
and
for doing that.
we loved the family that we were with. I felt like we just got so lucky there. Like they had the two boys that Tyler was in between their ages. And so it was just like, I don't know, the two families just
One
meshed.
big happy family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like a vacation family. Yeah, it was amazing.
That's awesome. No, we've had it happen quite a few times where families will meet on trips too, and then they end up being like, "All right, where we're going next year," you know,
Uh-huh.
like if the vibe is there, why not? So I'm glad you got along and were able to have a good time together. Again, generally speaking, our trips really attract like-minded people to be able to go on these adventures together. And I know when you were mentioning like speaking to Angela, so as a travel specialist, we always work with you to understand what the ages of the kids are, and if we can try to fit you in strategically to other dates that have similar ages, we absolutely will do that. So we can always open up different trip briefs and give you that advice. So for anyone on the call that's wondering how that's done, we can always explain to you, yeah, the demographic of the people that are already in the dates, um, and we always try to match make somehow with families
Oh,
so
and
that
I
you can.
loved that too. Like I loved that I wasn't going in blind. You know, we knew like generally what their family dynamic was, and so
Yeah, that
there was a
helps
lot of peace of mind to that. I appreciated that.
for sure, for sure. No, and I mean, we kind of are leading into this question about, the value add of having us coordinate and facilitate this, adventure for you. But if you have anything to add that you felt like was, um, yeah, really, really important that we kind of took on for you in order to make this experience a little
Well,
bit easier.
I would have never dared do this by myself. Like there's no way I could have just been like, let me plan myself a Costa Rica trip and go like all over the place and do all of these experiences. It's like even down to meeting the local people or the service experiences. I, I would have never been knowledgeable enough to like piece this together. It would have been like, let's go to Costa Rica and we'll stay here for 5 days and just explore that area. I mean, we got to go, it's like 4 different cities, right? Like we went
Hmm.
all over the place. And to be able to just show up, especially with my daughter, like I wouldn't have felt safe doing that by myself with my daughter and just hoping for the best. But I could bring my daughter. We have transportation everywhere. we know that the lodging is like clean and safe and in good places. It made it so, I went to New York a few months before that, and that was so much more stressful just because I didn't know the subways and I didn't know there was so much of just having to figure out stuff on the spot. And on this trip, you could just be there and you could just enjoy it and just be present. Everything else was taken care of. I could have never done it myself. So I loved that you guys created such a diverse experience.
Oh, no, thank you for saying that. It's definitely what I tell people on the phone. So I'm like, if you are okay with kind of letting go of control to some, extent. Of course, there's room for, like you said, we planned this boat trip. Like there's room for little pieces in the itinerary where we try to give you, some free time to relax, recharge, and maybe, do your own adventure at some point. But definitely the idea is to like take off the really the bulk weight of what it takes to travel, like selecting, yes, pristine hotel options that are comfortable but still unique and have, the Costa Rican culture, or if we're talking about other destinations as well. But I always tell people like you get to live in the moment on these trips. Like, sure, maybe you're like, what am I gonna drink? But like you're not worrying about like where do I have to go and where's the bus? Is like just get on the bus and go and experience. And I'm curious about the volunteer options that we had on this experience. So I know, we do different visits and rescue centers, tree planting. But did any of them kind of stick out for you as the volunteer aspect for this itinerary?
So when we went to the animal rescue, I really didn't know what to expect going into it.
Right.
And maybe I just didn't read up on it very much before, but it was very cool to see like their purpose of actually taking animals that needed care and actually like rescuing them and making it so they could survive. And being able to hear the stories of the animals, it was really fascinating. I did it to me, it was cool that there was so much care about one animal that was hurt, that we're going to take this animal and we're going to nurse it back to health and hopefully be able to put it back in the wild. And so not only to be able to walk around and hear those stories, but then we actually could prepare the food. So we went into the cages with the animals and could actually put the food into their bowls or up into the trees or whatever it was. And that was cool. I wasn't expecting to get so up close with the animals. So
Mm-hmm.
that was quite the experience.
It's awesome. Yeah, we always try again on our signature journeys to add these sort of elements of getting a more behind the scenes look and like a little bit of a hands-on opportunity so that you can really meet the people behind the project. Similarly, in Baja, we go to this organization that they have like sustainable rice farms, but they also have a bird release program. And so you get to similarly prepare the food, learn how it's all done, and get to go and see these amazing, national birds that they are making a huge impact in essentially restoring a population which was almost going to be extinct. And so all of our signature journeys include, some sort of organizational visit that are really in the end impactful, and a portion of your money from the trip is going to go towards these places doing their wonderful work, and hopefully they can continue to exist year after year with support like we offer. So yeah, really really great to hear that you enjoyed the animal rescue center.
If I
But
can
the,
ask,
Oh
it was,
yeah,
it
go
was the
ahead.
sorry, I was
balance
just
of
gonna say,
it.
I remember Marcy mentioning, oh, sorry. I think my internet is lagging, but I just wanted to ask Marcy, I know you really enjoyed the dance performance and you told a little story previously about like one of the little girls that you really connected with, that she was maybe a little sassier than the others, but I would love to hear you talk about that.
Well, and so it's the girl in this photo, it's the girl over on the edge with the striped shirt. She was
Oh,
so,
this one, the
yeah,
tiny one.
yeah. Or she just would come up to us and just like hug us around our waist. And they were so happy. Like they came in, this wasn't a school day, so I didn't realize that at the time because I completely lost track of what day it was when I was over there. But I think it was on a Sunday, so it wasn't even a school day for them. But they were just thrilled to like dance with us and sing for us, and then the teacher actually walked us around and we got to see what their school looked like and what kind of things they do there. And it was just, it's so fun to see such humble looking places with such not happy people, but they're so
Yeah.
happy. Like, everything in them, like they dance and they sing and they're so happy with their lives and the simplicity. And so
Mhm.
I loved having Tyla see that. It was very cool.
Mhm. Absolutely. Was there anything else you wanted to add, Marcy?
Sorry, what'd you say?
Was there anything else you wanted to add? No,
Oh, I
you
was
were
just
going to say
gonna say
something
I
else.
love the balance of it. Like if I had taken Tyla on this trip and all it was just like service after service type thing, I don't think I would have got her there. But it was, and not that she's not for doing that, but
Yeah.
to be able to say, we're gonna go zip lining, we're gonna go river rafting. I mean, to be able to tell her like we're doing all of these things, it made these
Yeah.
quiet moments like this with the students where we could just like chill and just hang out with them even cooler, because it's like, then, okay, now we're going to go zip through the sky. And so the balance of it
Yeah.
was, and I love adventure like that too, but I would just say the balance, especially for a family, this trip is so perfect.
No, that's awesome to hear. No, that's definitely our intention. We want to sprinkle in the levels of purpose and everything, but we recognize everybody has limited time nowadays with their family. It's very rare that you can get weeks and weeks off at a time. And so, it's like, well, how are we going to do this? Like, how are we going to make sure that you still get the fun stuff, you still get the relaxing, but you also get the educational and the volunteer, opportunities. And so I think that's definitely our value add, and what we can offer as an curated itinerary for people. And I'm glad to hear that you felt like it played out that way for you and that it was a nice and well balanced experience for you and your daughter. And
Yeah.
yeah, just so grateful to be able to hear your story and experience. And yeah, not sure if you have any last words, but otherwise, I want to hop into kind of explaining to people what the pre-departure support is that you get. I'll have Layla do that in a second here, and then we will open it up for Q&A for people. So if you want to start typing in any questions as well, feel free to do that in the chat, and we'll get to them in a second. Awesome. All right, Layla. Well, feel free to take it away and talk about our pre-departure support.
We have a travel portal. It has a lot of information about all the different destinations. So this is great once you've signed up for a trip, but also even if you're just looking into the different options that we have. So this will have information about the accommodations, the travel windows, so when you should be flying in and out. If your destination, if you need a visa, there will be information and links to the visa applications. Costa Rica does not need a visa, so that makes it a lot easier. Vaccinations, same thing. If there's any required vaccinations, I'll repeat, Costa Rica makes it a little easier. You do not need any vaccinations. But it's a great resource for different information. And of course, as a coordinator, I'm also there to help with any questions that you might have. And I also like to mention there's like information about different books or movies to learn about that destination before you travel there. So we've compiled so much there. Great resource.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just want to say, like, this resource page, it made it so everything was right there. I didn't have to go like Google if I need vaccines or whatever. Like it was just so fast to just read through that and feel like I had everything ready to go that I needed. I loved this resource section you guys have there.
Good.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the travel portal is It's our go-to for everything. Yeah, as Layla mentioned, it's got all of the information you will need, and Layla's always updating it regarding, any feedback we get from travelers. And we really do take it seriously when you write your evaluations at the end of the trip. We read all of them, go through every single note, and see if there's any way that we can improve these resources for you and your loved ones to be able to travel and be ready for the adventure.
Yes. And as I mentioned, though, it's not just the travel portal. You can always still give us a call and ask for any resources. Sometimes people prefer just speaking with a human, which is nice. So you have both options. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, you can schedule a time to talk at any time and we'll go through things. I already see some awesome questions. So I'll get to those in a second, but before I jump into them, I just like to go over, what's all included in our trips. That's usually a question for people. So essentially on all of our experiences, you're gonna get a local bilingual guide. They're gonna be the same guide throughout the whole trip experience, except if you go on an extension, then there might be a different one. And then of course during the adventure, you might have these sort of step-on guides that are specialists throughout the itinerary. You can expect, again, 3 to 5 star lodging styles and accommodations, just depends on the itinerary. We didn't mention, but on the travel portal, almost every single trip has a "Is this trip right for you?" page. So if forever there is some camping elements or maybe some, pieces of an itinerary that we know is important that you need to know, there's going to be that information. And then also on the phones, we are always really upfront to make sure that we're fitting you into the right trip. So feel fully confident in our ability to help, fit you into the right one. Again, almost all of our meals are included, clean drinkable water. If there's ever not a meal included in itinerary, it's because it makes sense. So just speaking from my experience in Bali, there was 3 nights we had kind of on our own. But funny enough, in Bali, they have like tea and coffee time at 5 p.m. And all the hotels include like a huge buffet of like snacks and food. So like I never actually needed to go have dinner on my own, like maybe a smoothie or an ice cream after. But those cultural elements are really important to know, and we will walk you through, what that's going to look like if you did have, a certain meal on your own. And of course, reliable and comfortable transportation. This includes pickup and drop off at the airport and everything in between. So, if you're arriving earlier or departing later, we have specific instructions for you depending on the destination. So that might vary, but we'll be here to give you that information. And then, of course, all entrance fees, admission fees included in the itinerary. If there's ever a supplement fee for like a zip lining or a rafting, again, it will be clearly indicated on the itinerary. All of our trips include medical insurance, which includes emergency evacuation insurance. But what's not included is your flights. So getting yourself to the destination, we will give you arrival and departure times. We also have a third-party provider known as Wings Travel, and they can help get you some quotes. So you do not have to book your flights through them, but they are a service that we pay for in order for you to be able to access. So you can say, I'm considering this trip with this date, please get me a quote. I'm leaving from this destination, and they're going to be able to really help, walk you through that process. And then, as Layla mentioned, visas, if there's any costs for Costa Rica, not applicable, but for some other destinations we work in, it might be the case. Same with vaccines. And then tipping, any sort of laundry service and stuff is also separate. And yeah, I see the first question was, is there any last minute availability for summer trips? So yes, there is. Please reach out to us directly. Would love to hear where your head's at, which destinations you're considering. I will say there's limited availability, but we will happily work with you to try to get you in last minute. I will say though, within 60 days of a departure date, we do need full payment upfront. So you want to be really locked in, ready to take on the cost of the trip. But we can definitely work with you. I know I was working with somebody who's considering the Tanzania trip in August, for example, which we still have availability for. And there's some other options out there too. So please just get in contact with us. You can email us at info@discovercora.com. I manage that email, so I can definitely respond to you quickly or give us a call in. Our number is on our website. Somebody also asked, what other destinations would you recommend best for families with kids? So almost all of our trips are appropriate for ages 6 and above. There are certain destinations that I would recommend for more 8 years old and above, just because of the pace of the itinerary. We have some really great, like, family-friendly options, for sure. I mean, we're a family-forward company, so off the top of my head, I mean, we have Alaska, we have Baja, we have, I mean, Baja is seasonal, so I mean, you're asking about family trips, but also seasonality can be different if you're considering like a November through March timeline, or if you're considering summer. The Galapagos is also an epic sort of adventure for families. It's also very family friendly, but it's a huge adventure to get out there. That's why I recommend, a little bit older if you're eight and above. Um, but yeah, almost all of our trips, Thailand is also one of our most popular destinations. We have great safari options. So depending on what kind of safari you're looking for, what kind of, we talk a lot about balance. So we have, our South Africa trip is a little bit more centered around safari, wildlife, conservation. Kenya's kind of a mixed balance trip between cultural elements and safari and conservation. And then we have Tanzania, which is a more of a service trip. We actually do like volunteering in a school, and it's literally called Safari and Service. So all of those trips would be great options for families. It's just a big adventure to get out there. So I often see families, again, for a first trip, they consider rather a Mexico destination we have, Costa Rica. Um, uh, and then we see maybe for the second trip, you do a Bali or a Thailand or a Vietnam or something. So definitely all of our trips, for the most part, the only sort of outliers are we have a Havana Jazz Festival trip, which is for adults, 18 years and above. And then also our Uganda trip, because we hike to go out and see the gorillas. And that one is also age limiting for an older audience. So everything else you see online, definitely. And again, if you want us to send you access to the travel portal where you can find the itineraries and all of the details, we can happily do that. So just get in touch with me, and I'll be here to work with you intimately. Um, Hopefully that answered your question. I see we are more interested in more time spending volunteering. Is that possible? Yeah, so as I was mentioning in the beginning of the call, we have 3 different trips. So if you're really interested in volunteering and that's kind of like your main purpose, I would definitely lean towards our grassroots expeditions. So, in Costa Rica, we have the Sea Turtle Initiative trip. What's unique about the Sea Turtle Initiative is we do volunteering at night. We do night patrols for 3 nights. We're volunteering, but this itinerary is characterized by still like a really nice lodging style, a little bit higher than what we might see in Tanzania, for example. We also have some other grassroots expedition trips as well. So if you want to get in contact with me, I'll send you a curated list of all of our more heavy volunteer trips. And if you have any questions or concerns about any details, we can talk on the phone personally and go over your questions. So absolutely, it's possible to spend more time volunteering, and would be more than thrilled to send you those itineraries. That would be a better fit for you. So I'm not sure. I think that's all the questions we have in the chat. Um, Again, let me throw in here into the chat just the email so anyone can just quickly grab it. And otherwise, super thrilled to have everyone join. Thanks for being an active audience with great questions. And Marcy, thank you so much for joining us and being able to share your experience. And I know
Thank you
it's
for
probably,
having me.
yeah, not your
I,
last DC trip, so we'll see you again.
I'm already saving for another one. I'm sold.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks, Leila, for joining as well and giving us support on the pre-departure side. And if anyone, please send more information. Perfect. If you want to throw in your email as well, to the person that just said they want more information, then I will stay on here for a second and grab it and send you information after this call. So wonderful, everyone. Well, Marcy, thanks so much for joining. Say hi to the family for us, and we'll be in touch soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Perfect. I got the email as well, so I will follow up with that for you. And yeah, looking forward to chatting. Thanks for joining the Coffee with DC today, everyone. Bye.